if you're not happy, just leave. No, that's not how men are cut. Men are not women. We're natural fixers. We're built to provide. And a lot of times, y'all don't realize that the man is staying through all these things because he actually likes you for you. But a lot of times that seems to go over women's head. Things is not always about happiness. It's going to be ups and downs in a relationship. And a lot of men are cut for that, but a lot of women aren't. And that's the truth. People want to base everything off of happiness when happiness is an emotion. Happiness is not a foundation to base your relationship of. It's going to be ups and downs, guys. And a lot of men understand that. That's why they stick with you through the ups and downs. And damn, and that gets tossed in our face. And we'd be like, damn, if you wasn't happy, you could have just up and left. But that's not how relationships are supposed to work. It's not how it's supposed to go. You're not supposed to just up and leave every time that you're unhappy. It's not going to work like that. If that's the case, you're going to have no solid relationships outside of dating, even friendships in life. Like, how are you going to perceive and pursue through anything that you go through if you just give up on every situation? A lot of times men are sticking through because they see the better half of you. They see the ambition. They see where you can get to. They see the potential a lot of times. That's why they stick it through. They're not just going to give up on you just because it's a hard time and a rough time. They just want you to be accountable, tweak this or tweak that. Not necessarily change you, but they see the light at the end of the tunnel. That's why a lot of men don't give up. That's why a lot of women end up leaving and choosing their happiness, because a lot of men will stick it through. They'll stick it through tough, teeth and nail, literally. But a lot of people don't understand that, bro. Men are built to provide. They built to stick it through. We built to love genuinely and unconditionally. That's why we stay. Because we actually... This is the same guy who said this. Listen, some of y'all ladies gonna have to settle. Self-sacrifice in place of actual compatibility is not strength. It's settling out of fear or convenience. Relationships aren't defined by how much suffering you can endure. Women shouldn't exist in a constant state of compromise because he's afraid to be alone. You don't just leave when you got a child in a situation from somebody that you've committed to and opened up your legs to and you've gave your body to. Oh no, just leave him if you feel unsafe.
Manipulate you out of your mind. Literally, that's called manipulation. It says exact manipulation and gaslighting. That's exactly it, right there on foreplay. And if you're not self-aware and self-in tune with strong views of self, then you're gonna have problems. You're literally gonna have problems that are severe. You're literally going to doubt yourself because you have that as a partner. Now, let's get to the point why this statement of his is wrong. So wrong. You don't have to be in that situation even. All you have to do is look for compatibility, and you don't have to suffer with someone who can be potentially wasting your time so that they can benefit from your labor, all in the name of they don't leave because they like you. As he said, yes, there are things he said that are valid, but he's miscrewing the information to suit his narrative. Right? So all of the things that he said, they can be true. The relationships are not going to be perfect all the time. Nobody said they are. But being in such a relationship with someone who actually wants to be with you versus someone who makes you work for their love, and even at that, you're possibly not compatible with each other. So you are there staying that hopefully one day this person will love me. They will love me so much so that I start to function. They will love me so much so that they start to give me attention, time, and affection. And which often than not, they never really come. So now you are relying on hopeful dreams instead of actually being with someone who's compatible for you. You are missing out on fulfilling relationships with someone who actually wants to be with you. So now you're staying with this guy all in the sake of, well, life doesn't happen that way, or friendship doesn't. Exactly. Boohoo. Boohoo. We would know that. We would sincerely know that. We would know that life works like that, but you seem to not know that. And I feel like this is why this guy was also saying this, so that we can understand it in a way. Like, men benefit so much from women's labor, and it's very interesting to look at. It's not even funny when you look at it on a deeper perspective, because everything they do is for self enticement. Men like that, everything they do is for their own beneficial gain. There's nothing that a man does and it's not for their own personal gain. And to a certain extent, even for their self guidance and advancement, as we have already spoken about. Not to say that women don't do that, but there's another conversation that needs a separate video. So let's just be mindful with the things that we say, especially on platforms like this. I mean, this guy is very funny, but he's good with manipulation. I guess someone who's going to manipulate you to a certain extent, they're going to manipulate you to get whatever they want to get out of you, even if it means keeping you in their lives for more than a decade, while wasting your life giving your children that you don't really want, neither does he. Well, you might want them, but I'm sure he doesn't.
Men tend to thrive more in relationships and in marriages, while women tend to thrive more when they're single. Let's talk about that because there are a lot of facts to this that are actually backed up by numerous studies that have been done on women's single life versus a man's single life. Studies show that single men tend to be more socially isolated and lonelier than married men. Now, of course, this is a generality. I'm not speaking for every single man, but for the majority of men, this is how it is. And this is one of the leading causes and factors for why there is a male loneliness epidemic. One of the biggest differences between men and women when they're both single is women tend to have several outlets where they can pour out their emotional load onto and who they can connect with on an emotional and a mental level, whereas men, we don't think the same way in those regards, especially on a romantic level. We think that the only person who we're supposed to be emotional to and pour out our emotional load onto is a woman or a partner. Women don't think the same, and this is why there is a male loneliness epidemic, because men think that we're supposed to hold every single one of our emotions in and we can't let it out to anyone. This is undeniably one of the reasons for why women tend to thrive more when they're single, because they have a community, a support system of other women and other friends who they can be emotionally connected to. We, unfortunately, don't do that. Single women are more likely to have deep friendships and platonic friendships with other people, and this makes them less dependent on romantic validation. Another reason for why women tend to thrive more when they're single than men do is because of the pressures that come with being in a relationship. There's added cultural and social expectations for a woman when she's in a relationship, like the domestic labor, for example, being one of the main ones. Cooking, cleaning, doing all that stuff. So when a woman is single and decides to live a life without a man, she can cook whenever she wants. If she doesn't want to cook, she doesn't have to. There's a lot less pressure coming from being single than being in a relationship. Very simply put, a woman could wake up one morning and decide, today I'm not going to cook. I don't feel like making any breakfast, so cereal it is. And this is essentially what I mean by when I say that a lot of women who are single tend to have a lot less pressure than women who are in marriages and in relationships. When you take all these things into consideration, it shouldn't be a surprise that men thrive more in relationships while women thrive more when they're single. And this tells me that in a romantic sense, generally speaking, men need women more than women.